Chief Smith has to go.
Sorry
Take
about that,
Brad
guys.
Lemon
Changed out a
with
battery.
you. Chief Smith has to go. Take Brad Lemon with you. Chief Smith has to go.
Take that sour lemon with you.
Take sour lemon. So when I say Chief Smith has to go, you say?
Take Brad Lemon with.
Or sour lemon, either one. Chief Smith has to go. Take. Chief Smith has to go.
Take that sour lemon with you.
Chief Smith has to go.
Take that sour lemon with you.
Chief Smith has to go.
Take that sour lemon with you.
Chief Smith has to go.
Take that sour lemon with you.
Part of the reasons why is because, again, we have a rate of homicide by cop 4 to 5 times higher than the national average. Homicide by cop. You know, they talk about suicide by cop. We might as well call it that too, because a black man confronting an officer, we already know what the outcome is going to be. But I can tell you that Donnie didn't commit suicide. If Donnie was going to commit suicide, why'd he bother to try and get his hernia fixed? Cameron actually had left a volatile situation. That's not what they're telling you, though. Cameron left a volatile situation and went home to calm it down. He didn't know that the murderous Eric DeValcanaire that lives in North Kansas City was on his way with guns a-blazing. And the only way that we can change a department that has a mentality of killing officers, or killer officers, excuse me, of killer officers on these streets, is to take the cancer out. Isn't that what happened when you go into the doctor and they say you got the C word? If they catch it early, don't they try and remove it? So can anybody tell me why Kathy Dean is one of the only board members that's on the fence? We already have 2 that believe that he needs to go. We just need 1 more. So let's continue to show force. Take this down. Those that aren't filming, please take this down. BOPC at KCPD.org. BOPC at KCPD.org.
What do you want us to do there?
I want you to write Kathy Dean, CATHYDEAN, and tell Kathy Dean that you have learned of the outstanding record that the chief has of more actively killing black men than any other chief in the United States.
That ain't right.
I want for you to write, specifically addressing it to Kathy, that we know that she's on the fence, that she has that womanly instinct of, don't fire him. I hate to have to think about somebody losing their job.
What about our brothers' lives?
There you go. So again, attention, Kathy Dean at BOPC at KCPD.org. Title only needs to say, we know that you have the control to make our streets safer. That's how our streets become safer, is when you take out a murderously thinking individual from allowing his officers to constantly use deadly force east of Troost. I know that we're not the only people that act out that way. I've seen videos. Y'all seen videos of white people that never seem to get killed for doing the same thing a black man does?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they take him to Burger King, that's right, after you kill 9 people in a church. That's how they do. So let's get on it again. Hold on, I'm gonna give somebody else a good chant leader a chance.
Oh Lord, don't give a microphone to a lawyer. Do I got 1 minute?
You have 17 minutes.
Oh, I've got 17 minutes. Okay. To all the people that are still here, some of you may feel that there should have been 10 times more people at this protest. You might feel disappointed that only a few people remain. But it only takes one person to change the world. It doesn't take 100 people marching. It takes one person that has decided that they have had enough of systematic racism and injustice to make a change for all of us. And so these protests didn't start out with hundreds of people. The protest started out with just a few people that had undeterrable resolve. And so you staying here, even though there are less than 20 people here right now, you staying here sends a message that we are not going to give up. Even if it's 2 people. Because a book says, where 2 or more are gathered in my name, I am going to be amongst them.
That's right. That's scripture.
So there are times like it's hot today. And you have already stood up against the injustice of officers that were more interested in protecting a statue than protecting citizens in Kansas City. By who? By who?
We don't know who beat her, but the police told her they didn't believe her. She had to come out to us and ask for us to help before the officers that were already here because of the statue. They ignored her. She had to come to us for help. And only because she came to us for help, the officers that were still on guard watching us came back out and was like, come here, man. What happened? What happened? Are you okay? Because they couldn't be taken off the duty of protection.
Remember why you're out here, and remember why we are asking for the termination of Chief Rick Smith. For too long, our communities have been occupied by military city employees. Militarized city employees that are putting people in fear of their lives, and sometimes they have even taken innocent lives without provocation. Some people are going to say, if we're out here marching demanding that city employees are not murdering unarmed civilians, why are we talking about black on black crime? Black on black violence and the Black Lives Matter movement are 2 symptoms of the same disease.
Yes.
They are not 2 different issues. They are the same issue, and that is the systematic racism that is embedded in the fabric of America.
Everywhere.
We are not called to a simple task. Even though we are few, we are called to change the destiny of America. Because right now we have violent communities because our education system in Kansas City in Kansas City School District has been systematically defunded by City Hall.
Yes. That's trash.
We are saying that there is violence in the black community because there is systematic and systemic defunding of areas east of Troost. We are realizing the effects of violence because our leadership in City Hall Our leadership in the police department, our leadership in the prosecutor's office are so busy pandering to us to hold a position on our dime that they are complacent with the reason why we put them in power in the first place. So we cannot be divided on small issues like symptoms of systemic racism. We can't be divided that this protest group is going to be here, or that protest group decided to start up here. We need 50,000 protest groups. We need everybody in the city going in the streets.
Everybody's on one accord in all of those groups too.
And there is nothing that is saying that 100% of our demands cannot be met.
Right?
I don't care if it's 5 demands or if it's 10,000 demands to dismantle systemic racism in this city, in this state, in this country. 100% of those demands need to be met.
Yeah.
And even if we are only 10 people, our voices matter and our voices are loud. Everybody on here is on social media. People have 100 people at least that are listening to their voice every time you post something. People in your phones, most of us have over 50 contacts in our phones of people that are able to reach us at a moment's notice and that will listen to our voices. Even if your protest is standing on the sidewalk, even if your protest is just making a phone call or sending an email or dedicating your business resources, dedicating your client contacts, dedicating your personal circle of influence to the dismantling of systemic racism, that is enough. Some people are here for their very first protest. Raise your hand if it's your first protest. Okay, some of those people already left. It's okay. But even if it's your first protest, you are an activist. The definition of an activist is a person that campaigns to bring about social change. So it doesn't matter if you've been on the front line for 15 years or 15 minutes. You might have decided 15 minutes ago that finally you've had enough. And so it doesn't matter when you got here, what your fight is on the battlefield. The most important part is that you keep coming back. And that when you come back, you bring one of those people in your cell phone. That when you come back, you are using the footage that you're putting on social media to make sure that people know what happened here today. Because police officers about to mace peaceful protesters for putting a flag on a piece of marble that could be replaced when they're point-blank macing people with chemicals that may be expired and may cost you your sight. People need to know who we have on our payroll.
That's right.
We are collecting stories of 100% of protesters and other citizens who have been victims of police misconduct. Because we're just not going to stop with marching. There's a whole team of lawyers that are standing behind me, metaphorically. We have a whole team of lawyers who are dedicated to not only filing citizen community complaints, we're filing complaints with the FBI. We're filing complaints with Post, who holds the peace officer licenses that allow them to wear a badge.
How about that?
And we're not sending no form documents. We're not sending anything that's halfway. Because when we send your stories, we will make sure that they are heard or that the administrative process has to answer for it. But we need your advocacy in collecting those stories. So anyone that you know that has been victimized by police, you tell them to give my office a call.
For sure.
Oh, right here. We got wristbands. Okay, we got wristbands. Google Stacy Shaw. Tell him to hit me up. Tell him to hit me up. Because we need all of the stories, not just some of them. And there are protesters that have said, I am too afraid to let my story be known in public. Police officers have followed me from protests. Police officers have threatened me and my family. Police officers informed ICE where I live. Police officers may have thrown a rock through my child's window, and I'm afraid. And so even if your story is not public, your story deserves to be vindicated. Every single person putting their lives, their liberty, their safety on the line to advocate for all of us deserve to be protected. And you let them know we ain't playing around anymore. We're not playing with holding people accountable. We're not playing with voting people out of office. We're not playing when we say the Police Commissioner Board needs to take action to terminate Chief Rick Smith. We're not playing around, and we're done being placated. We're done being promised empty promises and duplicitous words. We're done hearing empty words and speeches. We're done hearing promises that they're not going to keep. We are done, we are tired, and we are holding you accountable. And we will continue to march. We're going to continue showing up, even if it's 2 or 3 of us, until our reasonable demands are met.
Yeah. Are we about to adjourn this, or does anyone else have anything to say? What are we doing?
I do.
Okay, thank you. Give us that voice.
I'm here for so many reasons. I'm here for so many reasons. Despite all the instances in my family where I have witnessed police brutality amongst my husband and my brothers, in the eyes of, in the presence of children even, despite all of that, like some of the young ladies already said today, this structural slavery, it goes beyond the police. It goes beyond this station right here. These people have been raised for generations and generations to look at us with fear and to look at us like we are going to hurt them or like we are less than them. And it continues. It goes in our schools. I'm a teacher. I see it in the schools. The way, the lack of resources that these students in some of these areas receive is unequitable. Why do my children have less access to education, to health care, to mental health services? Why don't my children have equal access to those things? Why are my men in my family being jailed for petty crimes that the white man commits? Why are they breaking into our homes? They're stealing our property. Corruption is coming from the top. We as the people who know better need to step in. We need to step into our schools. We need to step into our courtrooms. We need to step in all places. Get that education and step up, because I've just, even in the last year, witnessed such corruption in education that it just breaks my heart for all these children. It just breaks my heart for all these children because they don't have the same opportunities, and then they're being blamed for it later in life. They're being blamed for not having medical care, for not having adequate housing, and what that does to our minds. It corrupts our being and our hearts.
That's right, baby. That's right.
And we need Jesus to come back. We do, because
Say it again. Woo!
There is just no, I mean, we have to come together and bring Jesus and flood these places. And when we do that, we'll see the power that he has. We see his power today. But we gotta be here for these kids. They're suffering. It's not right. It's not fair. And we gotta stand up in all places that we can stand up. And we gotta be educated. And we gotta rise above this. Because like I said, these people have been raised in the eyes of corruption. And that's all they know. And that has to be changed. All throughout America. All throughout Kansas City.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Boy, that was powerful. Thank you. Needed that. Anybody else got something they'd like to get off their chest about the truth? Surely somebody got something to say. But I do think this is a very, very positive outing, and this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of a movement that will continue. We are peaceful. The time is for justice, and we are peaceful. We will get justice through the court systems. We'll get justice by sticking together and standing. And like the other young lady said, we have to educate ourselves. We're not too old or too senile that we can't educate ourselves and be better for other people. For me, it's like the young lady said, that's why it was so powerful. It ain't about me. It's about the future of these children. Anything and everything we're trying to accomplish is about the future of our children. How do they feel every day they walk out to go play? I didn't say go do nothing. How they feel when they go out every day to go play. So, with that being said, I don't have any more words. Anybody else got any more words? Are we about to adjourn? It's going on to 4:30. I would love a prayer.
Please say a prayer. I want her to say it.
Sounding good. When I finish that little interview there. This is so tight.
All right, looks like we're kind of wrapping it up here. That's kind of it for today. Shery Ferguson will keep in contact if there's any other events. But if you guys are out there and you guys want me to stream your event, you know, protest, any interactions with any public servants, I'm trying to get to like more city council meetings, but I as well have the job. So if you're interested in streaming for IJTV, just let me know, send me a message. But I'm going to sign off for now. Thanks for joining.